Good evening and welcome to VI Voices. I'm your host, Clint D.W. Ferris. And joining me this evening, you have the lovely Yoki Hanley. And off of vacation, you have Mr. Boyd McFarlane. Tonight, we have a special guest. We have Mr. Cecil Benjamin, the state chairman of the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands. So we'll be talking to Mr. Benjamin about how the party works, the party's platform, the party's mission, the party's candidates, and some of the issues that are surrounding the Democratic Party as we move forward with the 2014 election and maybe moving into the 2015 and 2016 and thereafter. Well, again, good evening. Let's begin with our hot topics as usual. I think, Ms. Anley, you wanted to talk about early voting.
Yeah, I noticed that they have been having some issues in the St. Thomas, St. John district with the glitches with the machines. And I saw a post on Facebook where a lady went to go and do her early voting, and they, according to her, you were just depositing it in an open box. So there was no security measures being taken to make sure that the votes, once they were cast, were being secured. Any kind of safety measures.
Was it an open box or the same absentee ballot box that they either put a slot in?
From her description, that's what she said, it was an open box. But then you heard on the news that they were saying that they were depositing it into a slot, but still, for me it raises questions, because now, as did the person that they interviewed, how do you know that the ballot itself, now that they cast it, is valid, is not spoiled?
And one would have expected that they would treat this early voting as how you treat the general election or primary, in terms of the level of security and the level of people who are actually scrutinizing the process. We have poll watchers. You even have election workers, just to make sure that there is a balance, a state of checks and balance within this whole process.
I agree. I think you're definitely see a more how I could put it, placing more emphasis on the whole ordeal,
integrity
and the situation, primarily because of what's happening currently in terms of the scrutiny and all the scrutiny that they've been getting when it comes to the St. Thomas election, board of elections, especially. So I don't know. I really can't say or speak as to what is happening, because I really don't know factually.
Correct.
But the fact that their complaints are already this early in the game, it speaks to something about what's going on, and it's still we having these same issues that are plaguing us, especially over there in St. Thomas.
It's like they don't care.
Right. And you're right. And the thing about it is, we should be treating this as the entire as a general election. And one would have expected that the laws that were promulgated for early voting should have also take this into play and make sure that they are laws on the book that said this is how we're going to govern this early voting process, and not leave it up to chance, not leave it up to the policy and procedures of the board of election, because at times they're not gelling. You have board members clashing, policies are different in each island, and we need to standardize the policies to make sure that the integrity of the process is secure, and our voters don't feel be left disenfranchised with the whole process.
And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to secure the confidence in the vote, in the electorate, especially the electorate needs to feel safe enough that their vote count and their vote is valid, and feel some level of peace in terms of voting. Or when they want to feel as though that they need to feel like their vote is protected and their vote is counted, and we need to establish that. The Board of Election needs to establish that within the electorate.
And it was interesting to hear that the sponsor of the bill, Senator Gittins, to me, he didn't show any sense of alarm or even concern. He was just proud of the fact that he sponsored this piece of legislation, that it was approved, and that people were taking advantage of it. He's like, despite some glitches, very nonchalant and passing it off. And I think, to me, that does a disservice to those of us who, I'll be honest, I was thinking of doing the early voting just to avoid the whole hassle of election day. But with this situation going on, and even to see how a current elected official is just passing it off as if it's nothing, why should I go and harass myself? Let me go and just stand up in a line, the day of voting and be done with it. Now, at least for sure at that time, right, I know that the security measures will be put in place and that my vote will be counted, hopefully, on election day as opposed to doing it before.
But you see, I'm very concerned about this. Let me tell you why. Absentee ballots. People are going in to vote absentee on a daily basis leading up to the election. So that's already in place. So what's the difference between absentee ballots, the process for absentee ballots and early voters. Because my thing is, if you're securing the absentee ballots, shouldn't you be securing the vote for the early voters?
voters, well,
And so hence there's a disconnect here, and hence we as voters need to be concerned with what's taking place right now. Is it another attempt to disenfranchise the voter and again create chaos in the electoral system of the Virgin Islands? And that's a concern.
Yeah, and a valid concern.
Yeah,
It makes it seem as if they want to try and throw the election or influence the election
in some
Right.
form or
some-
fashion.
Right.
Exactly.
But you
and-
see, what my concern is the piecemeal approach to election reform. Because one would think, if you're going to do early voting, let's look at changing up some of the process. For instance, voter registration. Why does voter registration still remain 30 days out, come to a halt 30 days out from the general election? Technology is there, and we boast about technology. And why didn't we also see, if you're going to do early voting, why didn't we push registration back maybe by 15 days? So instead of being stopped at 30 days, you know, could have registration up to 15 days out from the general election. Those are clear reforms that we should be seeing in the Virgin Islands when it comes to voter registration and voting on a whole. And I didn't see that.
Those are issues that those who are in charge, or the leaders of the election system, should be addressing and should be looking into, as opposed to all of the back and forth bickering and the personality clashes that we've been seeing primarily throughout the last couple of years.
But look how hastily we rushed through early voting. It was rushed through, and you're telling me we're still not. How long have we been hearing about why do we stop the election cycle at 30 days out? Each before primary and 30 days out before a general election. And I'm not hearing no outcry about that from either side.
Because basically they want to keep the old guard. It's as simple as that. You know, as much as you hear them crying and screaming for change, they don't really want change. Because let's be honest, who wants to disrupt their comfort? You understand? And with the election reform and early voting, if it's done correctly and properly, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have the comfort zone of these individuals, whomever they are, severely disrupted, because now you have a populace that's slowly awakening and that's very tired and disgusted of what they've been seeing. You've seen crime at astronomical levels during these past 8 years. You know, not to say that you haven't seen it before, but in these past 8 years, it's like everything has been under a microscope, and it's just been, you know, I mean, ridiculously, I mean, blown out to proportions. We've had the highest murder rates under this administration. Robberies has increased. We just had Banca St. Croix robbed again.
We had
today.
someone murdered in St. Thomas, I think it was Sunday.
Right, you understand? So I mean, why disrupt the easy living of those who are living comfortably?
But if you think about it, when you talk about revolution, nobody wants to upset their comfort zone. So people are thinking about survival. So if you want to survive, you're not gonna participate in the revolution. Now push for revolution, and that's what has taken place for the past 18 and 16 years in these Virgin Islands. It has been a matter about survival. So we have gotten the people tied to believing that we need a job. We need a job, and because salaries have been kept at a certain level, they constantly believe, okay, I'm not gonna push for change. I'm going to think about feeding my family. I'm thinking about paying my car note, thinking about paying my mortgage. And that's what it's come down to be. So that's why the revolution has yet to materialize in these Virgin Islands.
We're keeping the people
I
at just over
I believe the revolution has already started. And the first revolution will start within the individual themselves, within the mind, and then within their thoughts, within their actions. So I think the revolution has started because the time is demanding it. You understand? And people, like you say, Yoki, people are becoming more aware. So they are aware. And
we're going to come November, the night of November 4th. You are going to see, we're going to be able to tell if the revolution has started and if the first shot has been fired in that revolution. And that's going to be told by the results that evening. So you're right. Your position is the revolution has started.
Right. We may not see it on a grand scale, or we may not see it in terms of action or people galvanizing or organizing. We may not see it like that yet. I'm saying, but it's starting in a lot of the minds of the people. And when I say starting, I mean because of their discomfort. Whenever there's discomfort or a difficulty factor, people will seek ease.
Okay, correct.
So
you
that's
know,
why
it started when the students of Complex had that protest when the
Right,
movie
when the
Ali.
movie Ali.
That was the beginning of the revolution because it's going to be in the hands of those children.
That's true too.
That's where it's going to come from.
I'm gonna say let's wait and see, but we're gonna go to break, and when we return from break, we're gonna have Mr. Cecil Benjamin, who is gonna be our guest here tonight on VI Voices. Back in a moment. Good evening and welcome back to VI Voices. And as I said earlier, joining us this evening is Mr. Cecil Benjamin, the state chairman of the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands. Mr. Benjamin, welcome to VI Voices. Can you do me a favor and introduce yourself to the guests? Let them know who you are and the position that you hold.
Okay, thank you so much, Clint. I am just pleased to be here this evening. This is my first. Heard so much about VI Voices. As a matter of fact, I have witnessed some of your programs. I thought they all went very, very good. I want to, first of all, thank you guys for providing this service to the public. I think we need this to make sure that they can be properly informed and get the facts so that they can make intelligent decisions. And not only that, as we go on, we've been preparing them and teaching them about what's happening, and this is good for our population. And next, again, I appreciate this invitation. And most people know me already. I'm not going to spend much time to say who I am, but I brought some documents, and that's one of them is a brief bio about Cecil Benjamin. So I would share that with you after the program. But first of all, yes, I am the state chairperson of the Democratic Party of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And prior to that, I held several positions in the Virgin Islands, in the government and of course outside of government. My career really is a teacher. That's my pretty first one. And second to that, a labor leader. I also have the second career of being labor management relation person over a long period of time. I taught in the school system for about 25 years, both at the Central High School and the University of the Virgin Islands concurrently for a long time. I taught adults in the night school. I was president of the Central Labor Council of the Virgin Islands, and at the same time, president of the St. Croix Federation of Teachers, and at the same time, I held the international position of the American Federation of Teachers for about 16 years, so I was doing all that going on in the Virgin Islands. But my real forte is to serve as a professional in the public sector, and I believe that we have done quite a bit of that. Hopefully I can share some of the experiences as we go on tonight, but I believe that I've been invited here strictly to more or less talk about the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands and what it's all about, and what are we doing currently concerning the election, and some of the things that we have been able to accomplish over the years.
And it seems to be a very long resume, Mr. Benjamin, and I think we're going to get into the resume, but the Democratic Party, and I'm no stranger to the Democratic Party, and you're no stranger to hearing me talk about the Democratic Party in this particular show. Now, can you tell me what is the platform of the Democratic Party? What, in terms of what does the party stand for, in terms of its mission, and what your goals and expectations are?
Okay, that's very, very simple. Again, there are a lot of documents there after this session. I'm going to share that with you, but to have it in a nutshell, our platform is really based on issues of human concern. And our platform is dynamic. Our platform is not static. Every 4 years, our platform changes. And the reason our platform changes every 4 years is that our platform is connected to our gubernatorial campaign. It's always been like that. I think it's the best way to deal with it, because you cannot have people running for the S office of the land and then going in one direction and the party under the banner they're running is doing another thing. So we have always been connected, unlike what other people feel. And like I said, we deal with issues of human concern. That's our platform.
So you're telling me...
And what we're saying, when we talk about issues change. And based on the different leadership, you have changes of issues.
So
right now, some of the issues that we're talking about, like we're dealing with that affecting the people today, like energy, the economy, transportation, which is very, very important. And people are looking at that. Education has always been top of the line in respect to all of that, because we must have that. And these are things that we're looking at. The GRS is affecting so many retirees. Those are issues of the day.
So you're telling me, basically, I've seen those issues as part of the current titular head, because I think the current titular head is now the gubernatorial candidate, which is Delegate Christensen, and she's talking about improving education.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
So basically, the issues of the party is improving education.
That's one of them. And let me correct you. The delegate to Congress currently that is seeking the governorship is not really the titular head of the party at this time, until and unless she becomes governor. So currently is Governor John DeYoung is in fact the person.
Governor John DeYoung. Okay, now you're talking about, in terms of issues, so we're talking about education, GRS. Mm-hmm. Have those issues changed from 2010 to now, or have they remained the same?
More or less, because the issues may get a little bigger, it may get smaller based on if you act on these issues. But those are issues that have been around for quite a bit. I mean, we can go back even before John DeYoung administration. We have had problem with respect to the unfunded liability of the GRS. This has been a terrific thing, and it's been getting worse and worse. And the reason we're getting worse and worse, sometimes because of public policies that we set. And some administrators, policies, look, we want to reduce the size of this government, and being pushed by the private sector. And you know what? Most of the time people go for that. And by going for that, when you think in terms of reducing the size of the government, you're going to have an impact on the GRS. And most of the time we're not looking at that kind of stuff. And now it comes to a point whereby right now, those who are currently in the system that's supposed to support the system, employed with this government, that number is getting smaller and smaller, and the number of retirees out there is getting larger and larger. So you know you're going to have some problems.
Let me ask this question. The Democratic Party, let me see if I understand you correctly. The Democratic Party, don't they have a set of fixed principles that they adhere to or supposed to adhere to, despite whomever is in office or whomever the titular?
Oh yes, and those are values you're talking about. That's another.
Okay. Well, I'm speaking primarily for the values.
Right.
And if the Democratic Party supports a titular head or whatever policies the titular head bring in, and the titular head is going contrary to those principles or those values, isn't it incumbent upon you or the Democratic Party, you being the head of the Democratic Party, to speak out, to publicly speak out, or to even address those issues that are plaguing the people, especially if you see that the administration, where a lot of people would say is going in contrary towards the people at the Virgin Islands, or to the betterment of the Virgin Islands?
Well, the point is this. You think in terms of an organization.
Right.
You have to see that, focus on that. And if it's going in a different direction, then that's going to be dealt with. And that's going to be dealt with within the organization. That's how it is.
Within the organization, so it's not...
Within the organization, always.
Explain within the organization.
Within the organization, I mean the party, the political organization. It's an organization that set policies in terms of the direction of the country and what's not, based from their perspective. And not the other organizations that are political, like the Republican, like the ICM, they also have that kind of responsibility.
Right.
And they may be in conflict with what the Democrats are doing.
The Republicans or the ICM?
Or the ICM.
Yeah, but they ain't running nothing around.
No, they're not running anything about it. But
right.
I'm saying to you that this is what happens If anything is going to be corrected, it's going to be corrected
Within.
within.
So then,
I
if what
understand.
you're
Yeah.
saying, then basically, then
Yeah.
if the current titular head or whoever the titular head is, we're going to take the governor as it is right now, comes out against the tenets of the Democratic Party. So what you're saying, if and correct me if I'm wrong, is that rather than letting the people know, us who are registered Democrats, that we see that you are going against and we call you to please come back in line. You're not going to take that public stance. You're going to hold it inside
Within.
and within the organization and then have it look like the Democratic Party supports.
No, not support.
But that's what
That's
it
the
seems like
appearance.
if you're not
You
saying
can
something
have,
else.
that's an internal problem in terms of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And remember now, that individual is a member of
Mm-hmm.
the organization. And like all organizations, you discuss these issues, and based on a majority vote, you set policy and you set direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different to any other organization. So that's what's been done. And I'm telling you, a lot of that have been done with him.
But
over
you
a
have
period
the
of
people
time.
who are not
And-
seeing that, such as, because
Yeah.
I'm a registered Democrat,
Yeah.
and I'm not seeing that. So it looks like everything that this current titular head has done, that the Democratic Party supports. And in so
Not
doing with the
necessarily.
Democrat, well, you
But
see,
that's the
well,
appearance
this is
of
the
it.
first now
Well,
that I'm
that's-
hearing
that's-
that the Democratic
yeah.
Party
Not-
is not
not-
in full support. And
Not-
that hurts me and other registered Democrats, because that's where you see this friction is coming from, because we're not hearing you as the leader coming out and telling us, hey, look, I am looking out for you, Miss Hanley, Mr. McFarlane, Mr. Ferris, because you are me. You understand? We have you on our shoulders and we are holding you up. But we are not hearing you coming out to tell us what you are doing, Governor DeYoung, is against what me and my people need to live good in this territory. So it seems as though you're in support of everything. I can understand and agree with doing it in-house. I have no problem with that. But still to come out so that the rest of us can be assured that, you know what, that we hold faith in you as the State Department chair and really the most powerful person within the Democratic Party within the territory, to say, hey, watch now, fall in line.
Mr. Benjamin, for 6 years.
Well,
You want to answer? Okay, no, go answer. Go ahead. Answer the question.
Let me tell you what. Like I said, I like this because this is who I am. And to have this kind of conversation and discussion on a free basis, full discussion, fruitful discussion, friendly discussion.
Yes, sir.
I like that. That's what we want to do here. I don't want to make it look like we are there to fight somebody else out there.
And that's not how I intend.
I am not going to do that.
Right.
Okay. So I want you all to understand that.
Right.
Now, again, I'm going to repeat. This is an organization, and it's not perfect. It's like any other organization, which you guys have been in many organizations. We have had a lot of tangling and what have you, disagreements. But we who are not out, we who are out of the organization, who are not part of it, don't have that kind of knowledge as to what's going on. There are a lot of stuff going on with other organizations, but some of folks are more concerned about what happened within this organization. And as leader, I, being a professional person, been in several organizations, as I outlined to you all at the inception, that I understand how it works. And I think we're going to continue to conduct it in that fashion. And when we have to make position, we do make position based on decision that's been discussion and decisions that have been made within the organization. And if you don't see any coming, don't believe that nothing like that has not been done. Don't believe that he has not been chastised.
But
Trust me.
Mr. Benjamin, let me say this. And I have to stop you there. Want to know why? Because this is basically saying, because we have the sunshine law in the Virgin Islands, it's all right to not let the people know that these things are taking place in their benefit. But take this into consideration. For 6 years, there have been a Democrat as governor. There's been a Democrat as president of the legislature, and there's been a Democrat as delegate to Congress. And in 2012, your national party talked about securing the middle class. And sooner than no sooner than that, you guys put forth a platform in 2012. The middle class was already under attack here in the Virgin Islands. The grocery receipts, a rolling back of government workers' salary by 8%. These things took place under Democratic leadership. And to this date, I've yet to see any action by the Democratic Party, whether private or public, to say that this is not the position of the Democratic Party, but individual senators. And then there was when other senators. I'll leave you to answer that question.
Okay. You're right in saying that you got a Democratic majority, Democratic executive chief, Democratic congressperson, yes. And I want to remind you and everybody else out there, how they get there and how they have that authority or power is the electorates give them that authority or power to put them in there. That's why they're there.
But your party endorsed their slate.
Well, we support Democrats, but not all Democrats vote for Democrats. But I know some of you know what I'm saying is correct. And I'm going to be brutally frank. Again, I'm going to repeat. We need to be reminded that the electorates out there are the ones that elect these people and put them in office. And I'm saying to you now that sometimes when we look at the problems and the evils of government, we need to realize that it is directly and is proportionally connected to the tolerance of the people that voted for these folks. This is basically what's happening. You can say, okay, Democrats, that's your problem, because you Democrats elect them and you put them there. That's not really so.
So it sounds almost as though some of the Democratic senators that have been voted in, that the Democratic Party really are against what they've been doing. And if that's the case, then it would help then if the Democratic Party came out to say, you know what, you are not following the tenets and the principles and the values of the Democratic Party.
The problem that we have is that there's too much individual politics.
Agreed.
There's politics of personality and individualism. And I think that we should abandon that. And we should focus on politics of purpose, change, hope, and opportunities.
How do you think we should do that?
And how we should do that?
How?
Is that we must first of all respect one another despite what party we belong in.
Okay.
Number two, then we need to understand the role of each other and the leaders. Number three, we need to come together unified on that basis, that we must see the same vision, we must speak in the same voice, and we must have that one mission. But when you have an organization trying the best, they get a lot of punches, a lot of blows, to the extent that this institution is lame and is weak. But I rather have this in that fashion than to have none whatsoever. And we could go on and on to symbol. But the fact is that we as a people must come together and bring our issues within, discuss it, get a majority decision and go. But there are too many of us that stay from the outside and we pelt stone all the time. And we only pelt stone at one organization. There are three political organizations that existed by law: the Republican, the ICM, and the Democrat. And we act as if like the others aren't doing anything. But the fact is that we Democrats, I'm proud of what the Democrats have accomplished over a lot of years, but the fact is that we're not perfect. We make some mistakes here and there. But the fact is you act as if like, you put all the burden on them that they're responsible. Let me finish that question.
But you see, you're doing demonstrate like some of your Democrats who come on our show. They're doing similar to what the Republicans do. Don't blame the leadership, blame the voters. Yeah, exactly. And you're making that argument here. You're like Samuel Sanes, who came here and blamed the governor. He walked lock, stock, and barrel with the governor. And what you're telling us, you endorse 7 senators, 7 district senators in St. Croix. You endorse 7 in St. Thomas, and an at-large senator, a delegate to Congress, and a governor. And you're telling the voters, you vote for them, so it's your fault.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, that's
what you said.
No, you.
That's what you
okay,
said.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
have never said.
No,
I've never said that. Let me clarify what I'm saying.
Clarify.
Now listen, I'm not here to argue with you. No,
No, you're not arguing, but I'm putting.
I came on under your aspice.
What invite? We invite.
Your invitation.
Yes.
And I obliged to do that, but I didn't have to.
Correct. And we're glad to have you.
All right. So again, I said we're going to have a free, friendly, fruitful, factual discussion.
Yes, sir.
Without any partisan stuff here. Okay? Because that's what I'm sensing.
No, there's no partisan stuff
No,
here,
wait, hold
Mr.
on,
Benjamin.
now. Hear me.
Everybody here is Democrat together.
Hear me now. Hear me. Hear me. Either we're going to present to the public, give them information that can benefit them, or else we're wasting our time here. And I'm trying my best to give as much as possible. Within 1 hour, we can't do all of it. That's why I'm rushing to do things. And sometimes, if you bring your guests here, you need to give them the opportunity to tell the public about the question that you're asking them. But you trying to come and...
Okay, well, let's cut this short and then just go ahead and ask the question.
Let me put things into perspective here. Yes, we do want your response, Mr. Benjamin. However, you're giving us a long story. Come to the answer, tell us what it is. And then, but it's subtly, as a brilliant politician you are, you're masking it in a lot of colloquialism and then putting it forth to the people and then letting the people saying, wait a minute, it's the electorate who elect leaders, not the leaders who are bad. And that's how I say you're putting it. Just say what it is. And I'm telling you what I see what it is. And Mr. Benjamin, I respect you, and I'm a registered Democrat.
Yeah, but you're not
I have Democrats on my truck.
Yeah.
Will I be voting all Democrats? No. Why? Because President Obama and the National Democratic Party have a slogan said, moving America forward. What is the local Democratic slogan? Are we going to move the Virgin Islands forward? To this date, my party, your party, our party has yet to demonstrate that.
How do you know that?
It's evident.
I agree.
It's evident. I would say it's evident because of the current situation that we're in.
Evident because you haven't seen it. Now we have a whole lot of stuff going. A whole lot. We might have not been able to put it out and communicate it properly. That's one of the problems over the years, communication. And as a result, people don't get to know what has been accomplished or what was done when.
So name what couple of accomplishments.
And basically, with the organization, I came in 2012, and with the express notion of, look, we got to change direction. We have to regroup, we have to redirect, we have to reorganize. Those are some of the words that I use. And I came in with that notion that this is what's going to be. Remember now, I am retired. And folks said, this organization needs to be organized. You have the talent, you have the experience, you have some time, can you come and do that? I said, fine, I'm going to do that, providing I get the support that I can do that. And let me show you what I've done since I thought. Like I said, redirect, reorganize, restructure, all of that. Between 2012 and now, you must have seen some changes. And let me tell you what happened in 2020. We went out there and we recruit talented and skillful professionals to serve in government. Some of them have been leaders before, they have managed before. We did that. And that's a responsibility of an organization, a political organization. Now after that, we trained them. All of them went through a political training. And we were really obliged to really receive training from the national level. They send down the best political trainers free of cost to help out the 50 states and territory. So they were properly trained in about everything concerning politics, even public speaking, presentation, outreaching, of trying to get out the votes, and campaign financing, a whole lot of stuff like that. They got. All right. That's not the only thing. We did that twice. I don't know. I know it was out there, but of course, the public probably not so much interest in those things. But anyway, next thing we did after the training, we interact with them. Make sure we brought in Democrats. We have a meet and greet all over the place to expose them to the public. Stuff like this have not been done in an organized way. again. Okay. Next, we have some forums to exhibit the candidates that we said, we in the Democratic Party said, these are some good guys. You have a choice, you have a better choice now. Go and get and make your pick. We have had several forums. All of this done since I came in. Never been done before. And I'm saying we are making some strides. Trying to, all of my presentation and messages is based on unity. When you finish, you go grab as much as you want over there. This is what we're doing. I admit it's not perfect. It's not there yet. But we're going to get it there with all the talents like you guys here. You are all Democrats. Come in and do it. Because I'm not going to be there too long. I'm there to show the light, help out, and put somebody in place to move it. No, I can do this. All right, I have the resources to do that. And we're trying our best to make sure that these things can happen. Again, we can tell you about the accomplishment of the Democratic administration over the years and currently now. But many of us focusing on the negative thing. There are a lot of things that are happening. For us to be able to solve this problem, we need to understand where we are right now, currently. What is affecting our people? We have to know that. Number two, we need to have the answer. If we know that, then we're able to have the solution to that. And to tell you the truth, this situation where we are right now came about not entirely by what Democrats did, but what happened on a global basis. We remember when Barack Obama came in, I was right there. As you all know, I led Barack Obama's situation in the first dance. Came in the middle of the greatest recession that was almost a depression. We were caught right there too. And if you think that's bad, let me tell you. Shortly thereafter, many of the EDC people in the territory pulled out from this, and we lost about nearly $200 million because of the federal government changed their tax laws and forced them to file their taxes in the United States. That's another thing that we're not looking at. Then the straw that broke the camel back is the closure of the refinery. And these are the things that put us basically where we are. Yes, there may be some problems in how we manage, certain situation. And I'm not going to sit there and tell the public I support some of these things. But some of these things were discussed within the party. But we need to tell the public the truth, why we are where we are right now, and let's try to find a way of getting out of it.
Let me ask a hopefully a little simpler question. You stated earlier when you came on that the values or the political platform is very fluid, that it changes from candidate to candidate. But yet you mentioned that it's economy, energy, education, and retirement are some of these fluid topics. Now, I would hazard a guess to say that especially when it comes to economy, that has been something, at least for St. Croix, that has been, when Hugo was 89, that from since 89 has been the number one issue with St. Croix, why we can't get back. So why would something as important as economy or even education, why would that be fluid? Should that be something that would be fixed? And then as the candidates come on, as you're grooming your candidates now, this is the platform, because I think the last platform I remember the Democratic Party really having was when there was another grassroots organization that was trying to push. They had this 6-pack or 7-pack, and then that was the last time for me that I can remember actually hearing the Democratic Party actually came out, with a platform,
election year.
Right, with an actual platform, and all of the Democratic candidates had to toe that line. It wasn't like they're saying, well, because I remember when VLA won the primary, I asked him specifically what was the Democratic platform. He said he's not really following the platform. He knows what his agenda is, and that was he's pushing. So that kind of flies in contrast to what you're saying in terms of the party now having a platform and everybody is, all nice and holding hands and holding one head.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Prior to the primary, remember these individuals have to sell themselves. We allow them to present the issues to the people and let them tell the people how they're going to solve the problem. But that's before primary. You notice we had a forum and everybody said a piece about different things, different views, different issues. Fine, that's fine. But after the primary, we have to converge and say that we took from each of them, the good aspect of what they were saying before the primary, and the delegate and so forth, and then develop a platform that we are using, everybody using. And usually, we do it from the standpoint of the leading candidate. And it doesn't change unless and until we have a gubernatorial election where we have what we call a coordinated campaign, where we put campaign for everybody, all of them, the governor, lieutenant governor, congressperson, and the senators. We have a coordinated campaign. And we woke up with St. Thomas the same way. Up to today, we've been talking about what they're doing over there, what we're doing, and how we're going to move forward together. But it's done. Like I said, our weakness over the years, I said it before, I'm going to make it clear now, is that we have not been in a strong position to communicate all the stuff we're doing to the public because, number one, lack of funding, a whole lot of stuff we've been struggling over the year. We're trying to put a mechanism in place whereby the party could generate its own fund by involving all of the 30-something registered Democrat to get them to pay dues and what's not. That can work. That's something we're talking about right now.
Mr. Benjamin, I'm going to have to hold you right there, and when we come back, we're going to continue with your interview. We're going to go to break, and we'll be back in a short moment.
Okay, good.
Mr. Benjamin, you are at your point in interview that you were telling us of the challenges that have befallen the Democratic Party in terms of making sure you can advance your whole agenda of unity and bringing the party together. So what are those?
Okay. Let me say the structure of the party. First of all, and that's in itself, you'll see that real problems that we have a district committee of St. Croix, we have a district committee of St. Thomas, and a district committee of St. John, and each of them has a chairperson. And then the party, when it's the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands, that's at the territorial level, of which I've been elected a chair. So at that level, we set policies in terms of how the party move and what the district should do. So in other words, the district is like a subset of the party. And if you think that's bad, within the district you have various clubs. And like we have been reaching out to the Hispanic community. We have the Hispanic club going and really going good. And we have been reaching out to women. That movement pretty good also. Then we have a club they call the CIDAC, the Caribbean Democratic Alliance Club, which is involved a lot of naturalized and so on. So we have been reaching out and carrying out some of the principles of the party, because one of these principles is inclusion. The next one is diversity. We believe in those kind of things. Now we try to show that and move in that direction, but then to pull people together is not as easy, especially at this time when the fire really is economy of St. Croix. And things have not been rolling in the way it should. So as a result, almost everybody get blamed for that. But then I think we need to, like I said, we need to find out what the real deal is and then work together to resolve it. And I'm saying to you, again, I point them out, and we need to sit around a table and start to talk about how we can move this, especially for St. Croix. And I believe it begins with putting a team of people together. I'm confident that it can work, especially we have some talented people that can sit here and really look out for the needs of St. Croix.
But can I ask you something? You're talking about, and let me go back to something you mentioned first, and this is something that your party and continue to push. If we disagree, the first thing you hear is negative, and you have said that in one of your statements earlier. Now, we may have different views, but it's not negative. It's just different, and some of us may be critical of the Democratic Party, and then they make think, and then they start about the challenges of the party. Some of the biggest challenges to the Democratic Party is not the leadership of the party that continues to hold back this party, that continues to play you talk about unifying, but the same party continues to promote not disloyalty, but this organization, this harmony within the Virgin Islands. The same negative vibe that you talk about, that maybe I may be invited into your circle, that's the same thing the party puts forth out into our community. And how can you say your party is a party that unifies when it doesn't demonstrate that right now at present?
But I need to remind the public, that's your opinion, by the way.
Okay, but then most of the things you stated, but most of the things you stated also were your opinion.
No,
but they were your opinion, because take for instance, this is the Democrat. You guys have. Let me give you a good example. In 2012, directly after the election, a legislation came up, which was a special legislation to sell land to Chicken Shack. Your Democratic senators voted for that. Think about it. And your party had just put forth a platform of middle class security. And how do we then put forth a specialized legislation in the books to give land at low cost to a corporation? Those are things that your party has demonstrated that he has not taken the little man at heart.
Try to understand that this did not come out from the party as a policy.
But the independent senator put it, and your Democratic senators voted for it.
Well, here you go. That's why I mentioned that it was getting into intricacies of the party, the individualism. I said earlier, we need to get away from that and focus on positive.
Okay, then.
So then at that point, why didn't the Democratic, you as representing the Democratic Party, come out and speak against it? Because I remember there was a situation, this may have been before your tenure as state chair, where it was Senator John Baptiste came out and he was chastised by the Democratic Party and sanctioned.
He was sanctioned.
So if this is the case, then when you have Democratic senators and governors and even delegates going against the tenets of what you are saying that you hold dear, why don't you come out and let us know as registered Democrats? Say, hey, look, yes, we are all one, but this person here, he's stepping out of line. And we are letting you know that he's stepping out of line because we as a party, we as a family, we are not supporting this. And really, that's how a family is supposed to operate. If somebody steps out of line, you let everybody know this is what's happening, and then you work together, hopefully, to correct the situation.
Before you answer that, add this one to it too, as you answer it. Where was the party with the pardon of Senator Chucky Hansen?
That's a good question.
Put those two together and where's the party in terms of all of that?
All right, I'll take the last one first. And like I said before I leave, I'm going to give you all the documents that's in the party position. Your show need about a good 2 hours because it's great. Bringing something stuff. But we did take a position on that. And I spoke on the issue. And the issue basically, I said we questioned the governor's action on that issue. And it deters our effort to get all Democrats elected. That was my position on it. And it's written there. I'll give you a copy before I leave.
Was that before or after the governor granted a pardon to Senator Chucky Hansen?
That was, the statement I made was after.
So, but League of Women Voters came out before the pardon. Democratic Party didn't say anything until days after the pardon. And why that position?
No, why that position?
Yeah.
Good question. I told you already that the party appears in this way that is unified. There are people that go out there under the party name and do things on an individual basis. There is no structure in there to actually let them face the consequences of that. Now we're trying to do these things. Gradually they're going to be, hopefully in the next 2 years, we're going to be able to deal with those kinds of stuff because like I said, there's a whole lot of things that we got to deal with. And we cannot allow them to continue to do that. And to be honest with you, most of the time when you see Democrats, quote unquote, people going there as a Democratic senator or a Democratic governor, they do things without even consult with the organization. And I want the public to understand that, and this is the living truth. That creates some problems. I personally, at least on one occasion, took position publicly against one of our Tetherland, and I was punished for that. I want to know where were all the Democrats, whether you're a party leader or not, to have taken positions to support the state chair on that. I could go on and on. But the point is that it's loose, it's not properly structured, and we have to really organize the party to the level whereby it serves the people and the community.
Mr. Benjamin, let me get to my question here before time runs out. First of all, I want to congratulate you and the party for all that you say you've achieved in terms of bringing people in or what's not and providing training and all of that. Congratulations for those achievements. Now, you stated something about being a past labor union or past labor leader in a union. So that means you're familiar with addressing the needs and the issues of the people. I'm going to ask you a direct question. Do you in your heart feel as though the Democratic Party in the last 8 years has done so? Let me go back 20 years, has done so, has addressed the needs, the issues, and the concern of the people of the Virgin Islands I'm speaking about.
The working men and
The
women.
working man and woman. The unionized people, exactly. Being a previous union leader, you understand the struggle, and you understand the struggle what it means to the people.
And let me add into that,
I
especially
just want
the
you to
campaign
answer that
promise.
yes or no, directly. Do you believe the Democratic Party has addressed that issue or those concerns of the people?
No.
Thank you.
As a fact, let me tell you this, and that's another. That's another reason that I came back in to do this, because I was with the labor movement. I really believe labor and the Democratic Party should be connected at all times. When I was there in the labor movement, this was the case, and we have never allowed anything like this that I saw over the past few years, and we plan to, within the next 2 years, get the labor movement involved in this party. Trust me, I'm going to do that. Because we've got to go that way. We've got to look out for the working people. Because one of the tenets of the Democratic Party is, of course, for the little person. We've got to put that in focus. Unfortunately, I didn't see that.
But can I ask a
I want to
question?
be honest. I didn't see that.
You said get the labor movement involved. Wasn't the labor movement involved when you were union president?
Yes.
Wasn't it involved
Yes.
under Tito Morales? And but look, think about it.
Yeah.
2002. All of these things. Remember the strike under Turnbull? You were union president. Then you lost to Tyrone Molyneux. Then you came a part of the administration. You became labor commissioner. Tito Morales. All of you union men are part of the administration. And how can you believe the working men and women are going to feel confident to know
Who they were fighting against.
that you guys were fighting against the administration and you guys got co-opted by the administration, and yet salaries have not increased and conditions are the same.
Some
Promises.
salaries are
Some have increased.
Promises have been broken made to unions as well.
Okay, good concern that you raise. I don't think I'm going to back off of that. Yes, when I was with the labor movement, yes, me, and Ralph Manju like that, we have been responsible to make sure that the working people are taken care of. We fought this government tooth and nail. We struck against every governor when we were there. Every last one in. We shut this government down twice under my leadership. You need to remember that. And that has not gone away from me. Still in my bone and hold on now. Still in my bone and still in my blood. But we have to have a different strategy in terms of how we approach things. And I'm telling you now.
So you're telling me
I know exactly what's going on, and you're right in saying that. I'm not going to back off of that to the extent that I get kicked.
So
Kicked for that.
that's the past.
And
Let's talk about the present, sir.
Yes, but the present, what I'm trying to tell what I'm doing in the present. The last 2 years I tell you what movement I've made. I said, unfortunately, we have not been able to get it out to the folks. I covered already. You don't want to go back to there.
No, but see, that's the challenge here. Let me put it to you, what's the challenge? You put forth everything that you put forth today, and it sounds good. And it's hearing how you talk about your Democratic Party, I would ask the people, why would you consider voting for the Democratic Party? Any member of the Democratic Party, because you're saying the structure is bad within the Democratic Party. You have leadership, you have members that do not adhere to the rules. So you have so many issues, but you're still putting forth candidates saying yes, they're going to subscribe to the democratic principle. What you talk sounds good. You being a union man and striking against the administration sound good. When last has the teachers union been on strike? When last have there been a strike clause in the union in the teacher union's contract.
Basically, what it is
Okay,
he's saying is
so-
what you're saying, as nice
so-
as it sounds, is not what's being
It's
put
flawed.
Yeah,
forward.
but Raoul, just a minute. I said what I said is the truth. That's them. I am not there anymore. I am here in a different situation trying to do something differently. All right? And using the skill that I used when I was with the labor people. And I'm going to tell you this, that yes, people have talent. Like I started out by telling you, I have 2 careers. I have a career in education, well qualified, top of the line. I have a career in labor, well qualified, top of the line. And if what happened with me, remember now, I didn't walk away from labor. I got to survive. I didn't walk away from it. Because I'm talented, I'm qualified, I was offered the position for Commissioner of Labor. And in that position, I've accomplished a lot of stuff that people don't even know what I've done over that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes our problem is that being humble, you don't put out a whole lot of stuff out there that people should know. It's like after you walk away, then they see, you know what? He did this, he did that. Yes. I'm going to tell you this while I was Commissioner of Labor. You know what? I'm one of the few Commissioner of Labor that was recognized by the federal government for managing this department. You know that? The public. I'm saying to you guys, we just need to come together and work. All my life is for people in different categories, different things. Understand my role, understand what I'm doing. And you cannot blame 1-2 person, especially when you have an organization.
And Mr. Benjamin, we thank you for your role. We're at the end of this particular segment, and we thank you for coming. We did pepper you with some questions, and we are hoping that you come back again, because we really want to delve into this issue more about your role, your party's role, and your party's role in developing the people and moving the Virgin Islands forward. Okay? Thank you.
And I still think the party is the best vehicle that does it so far. The record show.
But
That's what it is.
But I'm gonna put this to you. You stated this, and I wrote this down on my tape. You said, I have to survive. And when you transition from being labor commissioner, from being a labor man to being labor commissioner, one of the things we talk about is the revolution. And when the revolution becomes about survival, that's when the revolution stops here in the Virgin Islands, and that's when the revolution doesn't evolve. But we're going to touch that on another time. But we're glad to we're glad to have you, and we look forward.
Quote me properly.
No. You said I have to survive. That's what you said. But we're not going to misquote you. We're at the end. I'm the host, so we're going to end this evening, and we're going to hope. We need to get your information. You could tell us something about the Democratic Party. You can tell us. You can end it. Give us 1 or 2 statements.
Well,
we
you
can
can contact us
the
at
party.
340-642-1553, and our PO Box number is 222812.
Is it code? 00820?
00822.
Any website address?
No, we had one, but it's not functioning right now.
Okay, no problem. Again, Mr. Benjamin, thank you for coming to us this evening. As we are in the midst of our election cycle, and as Mr. Benjamin pointed out, it is rather crucial that you scrutinize the entire process. The candidates, the party system, the issues, because the issues are paramount in this election. Election day is November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th, 2014. Find out your polling place. Go out and vote. Your life depends on it. Your children's future depends on it. It's all about our legacy and what we put forth. So I'm asking you, whether you're early voting, absentee voting, or you're going to go and vote the traditional way by showing up at the polls, go out and vote. Bring out the vote. Let your voice be heard. Let the revolution begin, and let it be heard come the evening of November 4th. Again, thank you for joining us this evening, and have a pleasant night.
Thank you.